and get my right monitors working. All right. All right. So go ahead. Let's go ahead, just get this started then. So, welcome everyone to Tops Talks. We've got a very exciting day today. We got a very special guest with us today. We got Dana Lescoe. He's here from In Vets up in Indiana. He's part of the organization helping veterans up in the state of Indiana. Prior military himself, and really excited to hear his story, his journey, and what In Vets does, and how we can help them. So, with that, Dana, I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. Um, so my name is Dana Lescoe. Like you said earlier, I work for InVets. We're a nonprofit founded by veterans, for veterans, run by veterans. Our mission is to partner with veterans, their families, and Indiana communities to facilitate meaningful transitions to civilian life while strengthening Indiana's community. So, in the end, it's all about the transitioning veterans and even veterans who have already transitioned. We help them as well, their spouses, their kids. And we talk about Indiana. Indiana is our goal, but we'll help veterans anywhere. One of my coworkers is a very wise man, says that networking is one letter away from not working. So as much networking as we can do, we help people in every state as much as we possibly can. So yeah, it's a pretty awesome opportunity, pretty awesome job. A little bit about myself. You said you wanted to know about that. 23 years in the military, 2 years in the reserve. Then I did 21 years as a 13 Fox Fort Observer, Fister in the Army. Loved every moment of it. Transitioned out and retired in 2017. Thought I had the plan laid out, and I was excited about becoming a ROTC instructor, a junior ROTC instructor. I did that for about 4 years. Enjoyed the kids, enjoyed the teaching aspect of it. Did not enjoy the politics of it when it comes to school boards and stuff like that. So I stopped teaching, moved on to a railroad company and became a train master. Love that because it gave me the camaraderie. The engineers and conductors and all the workers on the rails are amazing, man. They're just like soldiers and NCOs who make you laugh, and you can tell those jokes that you normally can't tell in a real community or civilian life. Love that, but I was putting in 60 plus 70, 80 hours a week, the night shift, and then going into the day. It was just really wearing on me, and I told my wife and kids that I would never put them through that again, or myself. And my wife and I talked about it, and we kind of said, all right, enough's enough. So I resigned from there. That was my second job in 4 years. And then that day I came home and I hopped on and I said, man, my wife said, let your next job be what you want to do. And, don't take anything less. So I just typed in the word veteran on a search engine and found this job with InVets. And from this day forward, man, I just couldn't be happier. I get to go to bases again and talk to soldiers and NCOs and officers and airmen, all kinds of people, and help them. The best of my ability, of course. In the end, it's their job to get the job, but I do everything I can to help them. We all do. Everyone in vets does that. Our goal is to help veterans as much as possible. I'll even go to a realtor or check out churches or schools, whatever it is we can do to help. That's what we do. So that's a little bit about me and my transition. Yeah, man.
Oh, that's really exciting. So, a Fister, definitely. My MOS has worked a lot with you. If you can't tell my
Yeah,
background, I got my big old Cav saber there, so 19 Delta myself.
absolutely.
Definitely did a lot of work with you guys. That's really cool. So, just want to ask you about Indiana. How did you end up there? Were you from there? Was there just the opportunity there? How'd you land there?
So I'm from Florida, originally from Florida. I grew up in the St. Pete area near Tampa. Go Buccaneers. But my wife is from Indiana. She's from northern Indiana, Michigan City area. And we'd always come home. In the military, you don't really go on vacation. You go visit family when you get those times to get out. So we'd always come to Indiana to visit her family. And we just love the weather and the people. And, that's something to say about Midwest is best. I mean, I love the United States as a whole. But man, the people in the Midwest are just so nice. Even like when you buy food at a Taco Bell, man, they're just nice and pleasant. And so when it came time to the end, I said, hey, you followed me around for 21 years. Where do you want to go? And she's like, hey, let's go to Indiana. And I was like, all right, let's go. Back to that.
Okay, no, that makes sense. So I know you were talking earlier. You kind of mentioned you had some issues with your transition, some jobs, finding those jobs that you really resonated with, finding the people you resonated with and you worked well with. So kind of, if you don't mind, kind of tell us about how you overcame that and how did you end up finding your place with Invets? I know you mentioned it, but like, how did you find that community, that camaraderie, that tribe essentially?
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was going through the transitioning phase, I had just come back from, I don't want to say a deployment because it's not really a deployment. We were in Kuwait and Jordan for about 9 months, 10 months. And then we came back and I immediately went into the transitioning portion of it, doing ACAP and the TAPS program. So I started doing that, and in the Army and as a senior NCO, sometimes you just kind of check the block, get the signature, move on, get the signature, move on. Because I already knew what I was doing. I had already applied and got the job, and I was going to be a junior ROTC instructor. So I kind of didn't look at what was right in front of me, the offers. I didn't know that there were people out there who would help you transition, who would help you with your resume, who would help you with everything, because I thought in my mind I already had the answer. And that's what a lot of us do, is we think we already have the answer. So after I failed those few times, I just started looking around and going, man, what's out there? And honestly, LinkedIn was a huge wake up call for me, because there's so many people out there that want to help, and there's so many people out there that have opportunities, and it's all free, and it's amazing. So when I did my search for a job, my wife said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I would love to work for the Buccaneers, but she won't move to Tampa." Um, but so I said, I just want to work with veterans. I want to do something that I can be passionate about. I miss the camaraderie. I miss the band of brothers. That the time where you can just laugh and joke and really enjoy doing what you do. And so I applied and I started interviewing, and there's a lady who works there, my boss. Her name is Sarah. She's from England. She was a medic in the British military, and it was just nice because when she was doing that interview, you could feel the realness about her. You know what I mean? A lot of people, when you go into interviews and you talk to people, it's all about their tie and how sexy they are and how powerful they are. And she wasn't like that. She was very, I shouldn't say like that, but she was very down to earth and just super nice. I think we spent more time talking about my dog and her dog than we did about the actual position. And then as we went through the transition and the interview phases, I got to meet the CEO, Blaine. He's an awesome guy, super passionate about helping veterans and doing everything he can to support bringing people to Indiana and making Indiana better, strengthening the economy here in Indiana. And, then I got to meet the team, and I mean, I could just talk for days and days about the team, Jerry and Kate, and all my teammates, Andrew, Jesse, Chaz. I mean, everybody on the team, if you get to meet them, is amazing. And they all just want to help. And that's what the key is. I feel like when you're in the military, you have that platoon, you have that company, and that bond is huge, right? Um, but but you can't always find that in a civilian community, a civilian job, right? Because civilians work different than we do. So when you work with all veterans, it just makes it a lot better. And our meetings, our weekly meetings are funny. We laugh, we joke, we help each other out. Nobody's out there to make numbers or to beat each other. We're all supportive, and it's just been amazing. I can't say it enough. I probably said it 1,000 times, but
No, that just sounds amazing. That sounds like what a lot of vets are looking for when they transition out. They want to keep that very similar tribe, that those same mannerisms, that same good company. Because if there's one thing that any military member has, regardless of branch, is that bond with each other.
oh man,
Everyone went through the
absolutely.
suck together. There's that
Yeah.
bond there, And of course, we speak our own language. The civilians speak their own
Absolutely.
language. We speak our own language. So definitely exciting. So if you don't mind me asking, when you're working with these veterans and transitioning service members and all the military members you help, kind of what do you do, without going into detail unless you want to,
Yeah.
kind of how do you help them? What are they looking for? And where do you shine, and where do you think that other organizations can help? Either we, link them up with you, or just saying, hey, look, if you really want to help veterans, do this. So what would you
Right.
kind of say?
Right. So I got lots of answers. I don't know if they're all right, but I would say I do my best. So I would say when we get a transitioning soldier or transitioning military service member or wife or kids, whatever, the first thing I do is I find out what they really want. I always ask them, hey, if you had a dream job, what would it be? Because every person I talk to, they say, well, I was a mechanic in the Army, so I need to be a mechanic. No, you don't. Right. I was an MP. I need to be a cop. I was a 13 Fox. Nobody needs anybody to drop bombs. So you got to start thinking outside the box. What is your worth? What do you bring to the table? And service members, specifically senior service members, we all bring something that a lot of civilians don't, and that's we come to work on time. We're dependable. We're loyal. Um, we put the mission first, and I've seen civilians call. I would keep saying civilians, but I've seen people call in sick because they just have a little bit of a fever or they're stub their toe or something like that. Well, we won't do that. We'll show up every single day. You got to tell them, hey, take some time. And the leadership aspect of it. I mean, when you can take a platoon through Baghdad and everyone comes home safe, and you're just using hand and arm signals, trust me, I can lead 5 people who are working a manufacturing line. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of knowing your worth, and I think a lot of people don't know their worth. So we work with them. We find out what they want to do, what they're passionate about. We fix their resume. We encourage them to expand and look themselves. We present them with jobs, opportunities. We have like 582 companies just under our umbrella here in the state of Indiana, with over 150,000 jobs available. And we really get them focused on, looking through life wide, not looking through a microscope, and understanding that their worth is much more than they actually think about it.
Actually,
One of the
that's
things
very impressive, and to have that many different companies and organizations in just your state, in just Indiana, that's
Yeah.
impressive in and of itself. So definitely good stuff going on there.
Yeah, and I tell you, Indiana, it's a hidden gem. Indiana is, I've got the statistics here. We're like ranked sixth for U.S. affordability, ranked seventh U.S. in opportunities. Right now, we're ranked number two in logistics, number five in healthcare jobs. We've got EV battery companies coming in New Carlisle and Kokomo. Indiana is surprisingly, we've got everything you want here except for like the mountains in Colorado, and I would say, the deserts. But we have beaches, we have lakes, we have, hiking, fishing, hunting, pro sports, NASCAR, obviously, the Brickyard, everything is here. And it's not just Indianapolis. I mean, Fort Wayne is one of the nicest, most beautiful, family friendly towns there is that I've seen in the United States. And to be honest with you, I challenge anyone to show me a capital city that's cleaner and friendlier than Indiana's.
Yep, that definitely sounds like that hidden gem of the United States. I know, a lot of service members, they do think those bigger places, and I use bigger loosely. Your Colorados, your Texases, your Floridas, right?
Right.
But to hear, how robust Indiana is as a state, definitely all the different industries that are out there supporting. And I know one of our things is when we're talking to transitioning service members, we tell them to go look not just at one or two states, but look at all the states and all the different benefits
Right.
each state provides, because it is different, right? There's different tax rules, there's different veteran benefits, there are different family benefits. If you have disabilities, you get certain perks and pros. So definitely that's cool and great to hear that Indiana's one of those powerhouse states that really does take care of their veteran community.
Yeah, our governor and lieutenant governor has been working really hard. Just in the last few years, well, back in July, We don't tax active duty reserve or National Guard pay anymore. We don't tax disability. Um, Indiana has a free college tuition for disabled veterans for their children. Um, the benefits here in Indiana are hands down some of the best I've seen. I mean, we even run neck and neck with like Florida, Texas, like you were talking about earlier, where everyone always says, oh, I want to go to those places. Man, you really got to open your eyes, because in the end, this is the first time you've ever had the opportunity to PCS where you want to. You know what I mean? The military has told you where you're going your whole career, and now you get to pick. Don't just focus on those bases or those states that you've already been to. Look around, experience it, see what the benefits are. We have tax write-offs for homes. Indiana and our governor or our lieutenant governor have been working super hard to really entice and bring in those veterans, because Indiana is, once again, I say it over and over, is the hidden gem of the United States.
Now, definitely sounds like it. I definitely agree with that. So, I mean, very cool. I know one thing, a lot of veterans, especially the junior veterans, the junior enlisted, most notably, but even some of your junior officers have a problem with networking. Whether it's just they
Yes.
came in so young that, they don't understand the importance of networking or how to networking or how to leverage LinkedIn. Um, how would you what support would you want or need, or how do you support those veterans in setting up their LinkedIn's and getting the networking going so they can understand like the quirks of transitioning and finding those hidden gem jobs?
Yeah, absolutely. And you knocked the nail on the head. LinkedIn, I've really discovered is amazing. I didn't know about it as much until about a year and a half ago, till I realized how important networking is. Once again, I told you what Jerry said, the Yoda of the group here. But but LinkedIn and that networking aspect is way bigger than you can even imagine. The more people and that's one of the things I'm reaching out with you and working with you is I'm hoping to even build my own network. Even though I love my job and I'm not looking for another job or anyone to recruit me, I want to be right where I am, doing right what I do. But the more people I know, the more people I'm connected with, the better, right? Because they post a job and they say, hey, I've got this job. Or I say, hey, I have this junior enlisted client, right? And I need him to find a position. Here's his resume. Take a look. And then all of a sudden, those people that I'm connected with now are looking at someone who probably would not be seen or would be, off in the shadows. I was just at Purdue University the other night, and I talked to a couple of the students who are about to graduate, and I said, "Look, you're here at a hiring event. You're handing your resume to these people, and what are they doing? They're taking it and they're putting it in a folder, right? And then that'll sit on a desk, and it'll go into a pile of a couple of other folders, and then hopefully one day they'll get to your resume. But if you work with me, I'm going to take your resume and I'm going to send it off to the right people. I'm going to talk to people I'm connected with on LinkedIn. I'm going to talk to people I'm connected with under our umbrella here at InVets in Indiana. And I'm going to send your resume to that hiring manager. And I'm going to call them on the phone and say, hey, this is Dana from InVets. I'm here to help I'm here to help this transitioning service member a position. Could you at least give them an interview? Because, I mean, what's the percentage of people who actually get an interview when they hand over a resume? It's not that high. You know what I mean? So the more the more people the more connected the better off you're going to be in finding those positions that you truly are excited about and can be excited to go to.
Absolutely. And I think you hit it really dead on the head when you're talking about just the far reaching aspects of LinkedIn, right? You and
Yeah.
I have met on LinkedIn. I'm out of Virginia,
Right.
you're out of Indiana. Here we are collaborating to help veterans, similar mission. And, kind of mentioned, like you mentioned earlier, there are so many organizations out there that are there to help veterans. Almost all of them are free to the veterans. Not all, but 99% of them are, and that ability to network. Uh-oh, did I lose you? But that ability to network is huge. So definitely, soldiers and sailors, airmen, Marines, transitioning service members definitely need to understand that and that power, because as Dana was saying, that's correct. It's you're it's who you know gets you that job interview more times than just handing your resume over and putting in an application. So definitely worthwhile. Hopefully Dana comes back here, probably having some internet signal issues, but hopefully he gets back in here in a second, see if he's coming back in. Gotta love technology, right?
Yeah, it's like all of a sudden you weren't there.
Well, glad to have you back. I just kind of just carried on, told the audience, about that importance of networking and caveating to what you were saying about, how that far-reaching effect is, and when you put in that resume, who has a greater impact than just that resume and that job application.
Yeah, for
So,
sure. Like I said, one of the things I loved about your show, talking about that other gentleman, is you tell the facts, right? And the more honest you are with people, the better. And once again, networking. This hopefully will benefit you on my side and me on your side, because I don't know that many people. I have 260 some people connected with. The more I can get connected, the better it is. I'm not looking to get famous or rich. I just want to be able to help veterans as often as I can, as quickly as I can, because nothing stresses me out and a veteran more than getting within that 30, 60-day window, not having a job, not knowing where you're going to live, because you've got to make decisions. Where do I get a home? Where do I send my household goods? Where do I do all of these things? But if the more I'm connected, the more we are connected, the more opportunity I have for those veterans.
yep, absolutely. And kind of thing you saw with my other video with Neil, and of course I always opened it up with your story because every veteran has their own story.
Yeah, yeah.
No transition is the same. Sure, the TAP office runs similar, and there's a very check the block system, but no two veterans are the same. There's different things, or different aspect, family dynamics, skill dynamics. So much that you got to encompass into that, and you just need one less stress out there.
That's right.
Definitely, that's the power of that network.
Yeah, and 60%, this is something I tell my veterans all the time. 60%, if not a little bit more, 60+% of veterans will fail at their first job, or will not like their first job and will quit, coming off of transition, right? Because it is a huge transition from being a service member to a civilian in the civilian life, because you're going to, see somebody complaining about having to work more than 8 hours. And you're like, how many times I've sat there for 5 hours waiting for someone to find a pair of nods? Stop your complaining. But
Yep.
yeah, it's a high number. So I always tell my veterans, hey, even though I got you a job, or even though you got you a job, because I don't get you the job, they get their job. But the moment you realize you're not where you want to be, reach back out to me, right? Just because I help you once doesn't mean I don't help you second, third, and fourth time, because I failed twice myself.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's strong. Because it is about that support, one for each other, but two, as you mentioned, most veterans, I dare to say, actually 80% of veterans who get out actually end up quitting their first job within the first year.
Yeah,
and,
agreed.
and the number's pretty high in the first 6 months, and that's not necessarily a good or bad thing. It could be some very dynamic things like, hey, this company's not what I thought it was, or the industry tanked, or I just got laid off. Sometimes it is like, hey, look, I took this job as the first thing out of the military just because it was
Yeah,
$10,000 more a year than I was
that's
getting in the
right.
military.
That's
So
right. And it's easy.
yeah,
I
it's
always
easy,
love it
it
when
was
they
there,
go.
it was comfortable, so a lot of dynamics, so
I
definitely
always love it
worth
when they go, my uncle's brother's cousin's got a job for me. I'm going to be an electrician. Okay.
yep.
Call me in 2 weeks when you get there and there's no job.
Yep, and that does happen, right? Or sometimes you have that passion of going to school, and then you get there and you don't go to school, or it's not the school you wanted, or
Yep.
partway through school you're like, wow, I'm studying something I don't want to study anymore. It's just not appealing. Whatever that
Yeah.
dynamic is.
Been there. Yes, sir.
So definitely, very glad you brought up the networking, because this is that importance. Not just the one-time shot, but it's always there as the backbone to support each other.
Yep.
That's what I love about the veteran community. We support each other all the way through, and
Absolutely.
and we'll even support Marines. We still love you guys too.
Yeah, yeah. I just did an event with a bunch of Marines over at Grissom Air Force Base, and I was driving by a Dollar General, and I was like, "Oh, should I buy a box of crayons or two just to be like an opener, a joke?" And I was like, "Nah, maybe not. Maybe not yet."
It, I don't know. Sometimes you got it. Walmart had a really good sale on crayons, so
Yeah, right,
Crayola,
exactly
red
right.
Crayola is their favorite.
Hmm. My
But
brothers are both Marines.
oh, your poor brothers.
Yeah, my sons are both in the Air Force, so
Oh, well, okay. Hey, look, not too bad then. Not too bad.
yeah, it's the gambit.
It is. But so we'll go ahead and start wrapping this up. But I just want to say thank you for kind of coming on and sharing your stories. And if you don't mind, would you mind closing it out with like one grand piece of advice you wish you could just blast out there to all the veterans and transitioning service members? If there's anything that you said, if anything, this is what you need to remember.
Yeah, so the thing I tell everybody in every event that I go to is you got to start early. Lean forward in the foxhole. Transitioning is not something you can do in 30, 60 days. It's something that you've got to do 12 months out, 18 months out. Start thinking and planning. Even if your plans change, you need to start planning ahead, getting that resume, practicing interviews, understanding what your worth is, finding those veterans, those nonprofits that are going to help you for free and going to help you with your transition and make things a lot easier for you. There's so many people out there, so many people on LinkedIn, so many people out there willing to help. You just have to ask, and that's one of the biggest things that veterans seem to do is we're afraid to ask. We're afraid to ask for help for mental health. We're afraid to ask to help when we're transitioning. We're afraid to ask for help anytime because we don't want to look dumb. We don't want to look like we don't know what we're doing. Um, but when you're transitioning, you need to be asking. I wish I would have asked, and I think my life would have been a lot different.
Oh, yeah, absolutely agree. Same with my transition. Um, definitely don't be afraid to ask those questions. You don't know what you don't know,
That's
and there
right.
have been plenty of people who have gone before you. You probably know some of them, and it's very important to just talk to them. Hey, what were
Yeah.
your lessons learned? How can I make this better? What should I
Yeah.
look out for?
Yeah. And if you want to come to the great state of Indiana, reach out to me or our amazing team. We'll help you whether you go to Indiana or not. If you want some help or you need some advice, reach out to me. I'm helping people in Florida, JBLM, all those. I'll help anybody. But we would love to have you here in Indiana.
Definitely. Awesome. Well, again, just want to say thank you for everything. Thank you for your piece of advice. I look forward to having more discussions with you again and kind of seeing
Yeah.
how things are progressing and, hearing those stories and hopefully maybe even bring some of those veterans you've helped on and they could share their story as well.
Yeah, I would love that. I love the collaboration and working with you and everybody and everything that you do. I really appreciate you having me on. I got some great characters in my company that would love to do this as well. Maybe even our CEO Blaine. He's an awesome guy. But yeah, man, it's been amazing and love being here with you and talking with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And, like I tell my people, you always have a battle buddy. If you need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You already do. We talk on LinkedIn a lot, so definitely look forward to future workings with you, future collaborations. If I have veterans, I could pass off to you, and vice versa. Just we're one big community, one fight. We're here for each other.
Amen, brother.
All right. Well, you have a great night, and look forward to seeing you again.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Take it easy.